The Story of the World, History for the Classical Child. Volume 2, The Middle Ages, From the Fall of Rome to the Rise of the Renaissance. Written by Susan Wise Bauer. Published by Peace Hill Press. Copyright 2003 and 2007. This recording is copyright 2007 by Peace Hill Press and is read by Jim Weiss. Forward. The hardest part of writing a world history is deciding what to leave out. In the story of the world, I have tried to keep history simple and straightforward by highlighting the major events, personalities, and national stories of the world's cultures in more or less chronological order. There's no way to simplify history without leaving out something important, so I encourage readers to use the story of the world as a jumping-off point, a place of departure which can lead to further investigation of Mayan art, the French monarchy, English wars, or Native American cultures. In writing this history, I have tried to keep my primary audience, young children, in mind. So although I describe major religious movements, the Reformation, the Counter-Reformation, etc., because of their historical importance, I have tried to tell these stories in a way that will allow parents and teachers to explain their religious significance. I know, for example, that Catholics and Protestants will very likely choose to highlight different aspects of the Reformation and Counter-Reformation, which are complex events in which both Catholics and Protestants behaved with courage and with cruelty. I have also chosen to ignore some events entirely. The Inquisition, for example, has historical importance, but its violence is impossible to treat in a way that would make sense to an 8-year-old, and its effects on Western history are not as pervasive as those of the Reformation. I have made an effort here not to treat the West as an island. The stories of Japan, China, Korea, Africa, India, and Arabia are told, along with the stories of native peoples who lived in the Americas, in Australia, and in New Zealand. In selecting what episodes to include, I have tried to focus on what would prepare a child to understand today's world, rather than on the intricacies of past history. So I have given priority to those events and names which a child should know to be culturally literate, and also to those events which laid the foundation for the present day. For this reason, I spend a fair amount of time on the Emperor Justinian and his establishment of laws, which are still foundational today. But I have given very little space to the later Byzantine emperors. The chapters of the story of the world follow a chronological pattern. However, I've tried to avoid confusing young readers by skipping from country to country too quickly. For example, Chapter 2 tells about the Anglo-Saxon invasion of Britain in 449. I then continue on to tell in Chapter 3 the story of Augustine's mission in England in 597, before moving to the east for Chapter 4 and going back a few years to describe Justinian's rule of the Byzantine Empire from 527 to 565 and the events that followed his reign. Important dates are given in the text so that parents, teachers, and older readers can locate events on a timeline. Chapter 1. The Glory That Was Rome. Wandering through the Roman Empire. What if you owned a magic carpet? You could use it to fly around the world and back in time. Let's imagine that you're going to fly back past the time that you were born, back to the days when people used horses to get around. Then you're going to fly back to the Middle Ages, back to the days of knights and castles. Then you're going to go back even farther, to the time of the Romans. Your magic carpet stops. You're hovering high in the air, above the Mediterranean Sea. From your seat on the carpet, you can look down and see the Mediterranean. It looks a little bit like a duck flying. You notice that the land all around the Mediterranean is glowing yellow. This is the land that belongs to the Roman Empire, the biggest, most powerful empire in the world. For hundreds of years, Roman soldiers have been attacking and conquering.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?